I hope this is live internationally. We're all over the globe, baby. Get ready.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Valentina sees this.
Hogan and I will just be cute until.
That's what you do, both of you.
Until it's time. Oh my gosh. What building are you in, Gabby?
We're in Patterson in a nice computer lab.
Ooh. Very nice. Hogan, did you know I went to Penn State?
I couldn't tell. I have no idea.
It's okay. I'll make sure you know.
I hope it goes live while you're doing that.
Yeah, just.
Are we gonna get dogs?
I think
both of these filmmakers have dogs, so
we can just put our dogs in the frame and.
Yeah. Franklin is super tired. He ran around a quarry today, so he's very tired. Where's your dog? Well, how about we'll get Hogan's dog on?
Meatloaf is sleeping somewhere. I'm not sure where.
The dogs are asleep.
I mean, Meatloaf must be exhausted. His dad just got back from Germany yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's very excited about that.
Very exciting. Aww. Meatloaf.
Earth.
So, Randy, are we in the process?
We are just waiting for Eventive to boot up so that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we could gossip until then. No, I'm kidding.
And
I'm kidding.
What hot goss do you have, Kelly?
actually,
I don't have any.
I've heard some truly extraordinary gossip in this room when they're supposed to be working on their projects.
Oh my God. Oh, it looks like you looked at someone specifically.
That was a call.
Here, right?
Oh, damn! I felt that look all the way in Syracuse. I felt that. Damn.
No, it's in between helping everybody else figure out their workflows, so it's fine. It's good gossip.
You gotta goss. You gotta goss.
You do. It's good for you.
Oh my God.
Gossiping is helping, Tusha says.
There should be some studies about that.
You offering to conduct those, or are you just smart? And we're live. Hey, everyone out there. We are just wrapping up the experimental showcase here in 339, which is our alternative production techniques course in the Belisario School of Communication. We have 2 of the filmmakers from the 4 films that were in the experimental showcase block. We have Hogan Seidel from Boston, Massachusetts, and Kelly Gallagher from Syracuse, New York. Although you might be able to see that Kelly is really excited to be with us today.
Woo! Very excited. Yes, I went to Penn State, so I'm like freaking out. I cannot believe that I get to be here with Hogan and Gabby and you Penn State film students. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I'm Gabby Sumney. I'm an assistant professor at Penn State as of August, so I barely know where I am, but luckily I have very helpful students who have been excellent in their work this semester. And so I'm really looking forward to the questions that they have for these 2 excellent filmmakers, who also happen to be close personal friends. So I'm really happy to be with both of you. It's not quite the Saturday happy hour that we deserve, but it's the next best thing.
Soon.
Cool. I think we should start out just with some brief words from both of you about your films, and then we'll open up to questions from the room. So if all of you want to take this as an opportunity to write something down, that's probably a good idea. So this group is about to undertake their final experimental exercise before diving into their final projects this semester, and they're going to be looking at using found material to make personal films. And I think that the 2 of you are excellent filmmakers to talk about your work and also how you repurpose materials, whether that's physical things, Kelly, or if that's, found footage, Hogan, in the work that you make.
Hogan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So my film used a lot of archival materials from my uncle left behind, and a lot of interesting techniques of like rephotographing and hand processing and rephotographing again. So originally is a lot of digital archive, rephotographed to Super 8, hand processed, then rephotographed to 16. And in the beginning, you can see a lot of this sort of degrading of the film, which is like this personal degrading. And also you see digital artifacts and degrading. And because this was like an exploration that happened after his death, I was trying to find that space between something sort of physical and falling apart, but still like active, like this kind of space between like life and death of an image as like an opening of like conversation to someone that can't really take place, but sort of was necessary in this mourning to take place. I guess that's sort of how I was originally thinking of this process.
Thank you. So in the future uses imagery from, I'm looking because one of the books is around here. I'm in my studio right now, but it uses imagery from this wild like outer space book, and then let me grab some of these books actually. They're right here. When I was teaching at my former institution, so right now I'm a film professor at Syracuse University, but I used to teach for a few years at this small radical little college called Antioch. And at one point the library was getting rid of a bunch of these like photo encyclopedias, and they were like, anyone in the community, this is how I get a lot of things, anyone in the community who wants to come and round up any of these books we're getting away, please feel free. So they're just like beautiful. They're like, it's like a whole series, like The Great Divide, The American Wilderness, Cactus Country. There's like a book on arid lands and like the oceans and whatever. So I have everything right here because I'm right in my studio. So so I took just like stop motion animation, took a bunch of photos and from the pictures, and a lot of my work primarily is the practice of collaging, which I really, really enjoy. And which really got started when I was a senior at Penn State in the film program, actually, because my senior year, I had to make a senior thesis film. And anyway, the film I wanted to make, I didn't have like money and resources to go around and interview people or make like some big live action film. So I started doing kind of collage animation because it felt like a really joyful and accessible way of storytelling, and so I've loved it ever since. And so that was a lot of the process for In the Future, was taking lots of photos from these wild books I have, animating them together, and then I do play a little bit with kind of keying out some elements and getting a little bit creative, but it's all like basic stuff in Premiere Pro. But yeah.
It looks pretty good for basic, Cal.
It's pretty basic. It's basic.
All right, so I just stepped off camera so that someone else can step on. If you want to come get a little bit closer so the filmmakers can see your face to that lens over there and grab this microphone. We want some questions from all of you.
Hell yeah.
Don't be scared. They're not, both of them teach. They're very gentle. Cool.
Do I go like, oh,
Just,
okay.
yeah, look-ish, right? Hey, it's you.
Hey, it's me. All right, so I'll start off with a question for Kelly. So I found a lot of things that were said like during your film like very impactful and powerful. So how was that process for you in terms of like the individuals that like were obviously like that were voiced over in the film? Like, did you go out and like interview them, or like did you ask them to send in like a recording of themselves, or how is that like for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what was your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Tusha.
Hi, Dusha. Hi, really nice to meet you. So that film was made during like the height of isolation during COVID time, pre-vaccine. And in fact, it was sort of like a godsend that, I think I had a lot of anxiety when COVID first hit, as probably many of us did. I usually always have anxiety, so it was just ramped up even more. And this project came about in kind of a fun way, with Oscilloscope Labs kind of reaching out to provide some support. They had some support from MailChimp. It was sort of like a funny series of things, but they were able to give some grants to some filmmakers to make some work. And I think it was just at a very good moment when I was starting to wonder, like, oh, I wonder what the next creative thing will be. Do I feel like I'm able to be creative right now? Like, it sort of was like a fun little, like, I don't know, like resuscitation a little bit for me creatively, to be encouraged to make something at that time. It was really, really important and really lovely. And so because it was sort of during the height of alienation and isolation, I put out this call to a bunch of friends, friends of all ages, friends all over the world, acquaintances, etc. I think I posted something on Facebook and then sent emails and emails, and encouraged people, gave people different directions for like ways that they could record themselves saying things, whether it's like voice memos on your iPhone or something else, websites, whatever. And then people really ran with it and really had fun with it, and really I don't know, I just was very lucky and very grateful that that people participated. And I think it was something fun. It was a way of feeling connected for all of us to, again, during this time of extreme alienation. And so even though it wasn't physical, just being connected in a creative way, collaborating with other people, and even like a few children who are amazing, especially the last little girl at the end of the film, who could tell what I was going to do. It just was it's just a really tender and moving experience to be able to connect with people during such a difficult time. But that the process was it was virtual.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible that like you were able to get like a range of people, like despite being in like the peak of COVID during that time. So that's crazy. Okay, and so then my second question is for Hogan. So when you were going to film, your uncle had passed away. So when your uncle passed away, how did you kind of decide on what to include in the film that would kind of portray like the story of his life in terms of just like stylistic elements and just like the photographs and things like that?
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer too, but a really important one that I had to constantly reevaluate is it was hard because it was my grad school thesis too. And so I was getting a bunch of feedback from different types of makers who had their own like styles and ideas of like structure and form. And a lot of documentary filmmakers and narrative filmmakers were like very into like, all right, this is the point where you tell me this. And which felt like very exploitative in some ways to me. Like I was exploiting a situation for like intrigue, which I didn't really want to make or create like this act structure out of it. And then I saw this piece by Laurie Anderson, Heart of a Dog, that really like moved me and like made me reevaluate that this could be a process of investigation and personal investigation too. It didn't really necessarily need to be about a narrative structure. So I sat with the images I resonated the most with, and I was really investigating like intergenerational sort of queerness and sort of time, and how like my queerness is different than his based off of time and situation, and not necessarily that he exists as an evil person. And also thinking about queerness as destroying binaries, so like destroying this idea of like good and bad as well. So I was reading a lot of like queer theory that was really dense and inaccessible, but was really exciting about this idea of like destroying these ideas of like good and bad, and really sitting with some of those. So the images were really what drew to me, and what sort of resonated that I saw connected us in our queerness, I guess, is the shorter answer.
Yeah, no, I found the story just very moving, and I'm sure like there are a lot, it resonated with like a lot of people. So yeah, those are my questions. Thank you guys so much. But-
You.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very proper.
What?
Very proper and
Oh,
fancy.
thank you.
Hi, what's up?
Hi.
So I have a question about the process of finding materials, especially because Gabby brought up we're about to go into found materials. I'm really curious, what was your process in finding materials that weren't personal, like that you already had or were from family members? Something that was like outside the ordinary of what you would see in found footage. What was like your process for selecting materials like that?
Me?
I can't answer it.
Hogan, you might, I can't tell, but I think you might be being asked. I mean,
Oh, me.
Either
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you
Um,
talked about finding books and everything. That was also really like either or.
Yeah, I could go first. So I basically had to dig through attics. My uncle was a hoarder, and also gave, like, I was the executor of his estate, which meant nothing besides like I had to sell his house to pay off all his debts. But yeah, I had to dig through, and I found these cassette tapes of all his sermons. I found slide films, boxes of slide films that I was scanning. All those roses and flowers were in these boxes. It was really about digging. That's I had to discover them by really digging through the trash of like my family's life, because so much of the stuff gets put in boxes and thrown away, and I had to sort of take it, collect it, scan it. I had to use the resources at hand to sort of scan it at the university. I bought like a flatbed scanner. Dig. Dig literally in trash for hours to find it.
yeah, you know, so much about being an experimental filmmaker is about wanting to excavate and being okay with digging through the detritus. You know, I think like for me, I got these were about to be thrown away, but they weren't. But I would have been digging for them either way. But I think like the process of looking plays a huge part, you know, in pre-production. I think for many folks who use found footage or collage practices, whether it's like images I find from photo books and used bookstores that I love going to, or images on the internet, or, you know, internet archives of things. The process of digging, like Hogan said, really resonates. You know, I think you have to be interested in that and looking through and find, you know, being able to put the time in to look through that detritus to find what it is that you're looking for, or find things you weren't looking for that end up being great and powerful imagery to use. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. Oh.
Hogan, do you want to say something else about that?
Oh, yeah. I was about to go back to the accessibility of it too. Is like, I didn't have money in grad school. I still don't have any money. And and through the pandemic, I was basically living off of selling film from my closet, because I found, you know, Personal Archive was such an accessible and sort of cheap investigation in a lot of the type of work I wanted to do on like family and queer identity, religious identity, and those sort of intersections. And it's a way you can make work that's really powerful to you without, you know, the budget of a large narrative, which is not anything against narratives, because you can make narratives really cheap, but this is sort of what I found I could do with my resources too. the stories I could tell with my resources. And I think Kelly, you were sort of saying that as well when you were, and yeah.
Yeah, experimental filmmaking is kind of the best because, you know, like I make my films for like $5. Like, I mean, this is the camera I use. I've had since I was 19 years old. I get it. Like, I'm a film professor. Everyone loves to go to the Cage and the Aries, the, you know, C300s, blah, blah, blah. This is a Canon Rebel that I've had since I was 19. So yeah, 15 years. It's what I make all my films on. And then, you know, supplies are like from Michael's Arts and Crafts if I need backgrounds, and images are what I find. And so it is a very like politically, you know, these practices are they're very radical politically, they're very inclusive, they're very feminist, they're, you know, I mean, there's a lot of magic in experimental filmmaking, I think. And it's joyful work too. I mean, that's why we do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
How you doing? My question is more of on a technical term. So Kelly, in your film, there was a woman dancing, and it looked like it was sort of a rotoscope, or it was stop motion. Could you explain what that was?
Yes, absolutely. So I had found imagery of this woman. Well, I wanted footage of a body dancing, a body moving, and I went scouring on the internet for dancers against green screens. And so that so I found this beautiful video of a dancer working against a green screen. And then I thought about, so I thought about printing out a lot of my work. I'll do like paper printout, rotoscoping, like I'll do like very process heavy, intensive stuff like this, but I kind of did a shortcut, and I'll share it all with you now, and I guess everyone on the internet. So I took that video footage of a woman dancing against a green screen, and then was able, I don't know if I did this in After Effects or just Premiere Pro. I think it could go either way, but there's like, you're able to kind of like sort of like paint in like where she was, I made like bright chroma blue. So I had like this chroma blue dancer against like against like this green background. And then I'm able to kind of manipulate what goes in each space. So it's stop motion animation, like stop motion animated imagery of photos that takes the place of her body. And I did that digitally. Where in the past, if I was whatever, sometimes I would cut out her body and like animate in that way. I've done that in other films before, but for this, and I think I like might have exported the video sequence of her dancing so that it would be like, I think I exported a JPEG sequence of her dancing where I exported maybe every third or fourth frame, just to give it a little bit more of like a slight, like otherworldly kind of slight jolt that's not super readable in the film. But yeah, that's how I did that. And I'd be happy to, you know, find the tutorials or tools that I could give to Gabby for anyone who's interested in that process. But if you find I found birds against a green screen. And so like, that's how I was able to have the birds flying in. You're able to kind of remove, anyway, that's sort of how I did it. Sorry. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but that's how I did it.
No, you are. I got like most of that.
Okay.
And for Hogan, do you think that the limitation of your uncle passing, which I'm sorry for your loss, by the way, like made your film, like it was really touching. I was very moved by it, especially with the inclusion of the like Bible verses, the battle for your soul and such. Do you think that helped it make it as good as it is?
I don't know. I feel like that's an interesting idea because it's a path I didn't take really, or a path I really couldn't take. And I guess the film was also about like queer time and queer paths and like the circumstances of which you are and are sort of socialized and exist, but I don't know if it would be better. I think if anything, maybe it would have been a less about me. So I think it would have been more just specifically about my uncle. Whereas I felt I was more investigating my ideas of family and religion and queerness at his sort of passing, less than I was sort of doing a survey of his life now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
So it is 5:15, almost on the money. Anybody needs to step out right now, go ahead and do that. I bet we could probably convince these two to stay on for another question or two for people who have them. But
Don't go to the cafe yet. Those Long Island teas will wait.
all right, so anybody who needs to slip out, go ahead. You have to go. You're good? Okay. All right. Anybody? This is like a new record. Everybody wants to stay. All right, cool. I love that. So who else has a question? If you're gonna say, you probably have something to say.
We just want to hang out.
They just want to hang out.
We can hang out.
Yeah, do they have any questions? Oh, or them. Sure. I meant you.
Them for, what do you mean?
Either way, I have to stop talking.
MK kind of has questions. There are questions about if anybody else has questions.
I'm asking if you have
If I have questions for them.
for them.
What do you think I don't know about these films? No, I think of both of these films really like as pandemic films, and they're both pandemic films that helped me a lot in my process during my own COVID anxiety. Because Hogan was working on this thesis film like as the shutdown was happening. Like I can clearly remember you giving me the face morph section. Like you sent me a text on my phone when I was in Iceland 2 weeks before, like none of us were allowed to go anywhere. And so like that section in particular really lives in my heart. And then KG, you were like, we were in a workshop together. You were running a workshop when you put out the call for content from people to contribute. And like, I put the call in the newsletter and like really wanted people to get involved with this. And so I think more than anything, I want to thank you both for making these films, for submitting these films, for sharing these films, because they're really beautiful and they're helping so many of us as we navigate this kind of work on our own. And like, you know, from just a sheer like labor and output perspective, like Hogan, some of the stuff that you learned finishing your film helped us with the films that we're making together. So there's just like, I have so much love for the work that you shared today, and I'm really grateful for it.
Gabby, the love is very mutual, I'm sure. And I want to tell the students there, you know, I want to say to the students, I don't know, I feel a little emotional because I loved my time at Penn State so much. But it wasn't always easy. It was a very, things changed slowly, but it was a very gear bro-y kind of fucking space at the time. And hopefully things are changing. Women and non-binary folks to the motherfucking front. But I just want to say how lucky all the students, how lucky you all are to have Gabby. Yes, Gabby, yes. The fact that Gabby is teaching there now is the most beautiful fucking blessing. And I just know that you will rock that film program in all the best ways. And the students are you're lucky to have each other, because obviously Penn State students are the best students in the world, and Gabby, you're the best in the world. So I just feel very moved that you're there now. And please tell Rod, someone tell Rod Bingaman that I say hello.
Everyone, when you see Rod, just everyone say that to Rod.
Everyone say Kelly said hi. I never had Maura, but tell Maura I said hi too. I had Rod. Rod's the best. Tell Rod I say hi. And yes, thank you, Gabby, for being you and teaching all these amazing best film students in the fucking world. Okay, Hogan, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I guess thinking about as you're moving, are you seniors, juniors?
Yeah, what year? A
mix. I found out that you got to really hold on to the mentorships that matter and the people who want to see you grow. Gabby was one of those people. throughout my grad school, because I was told a lot I can't do the things I wanted to do to make this film, and said I couldn't play in the ways I wanted to make this film. But I knew these are the things I wanted to explore. So you got to hold those people close that are like willing to watch you grow, and watch you grow in the way that you're supposed to, not in the way that people are molding you into artists that they are. And that's how you know the difference between a really good teacher and a not so good teacher, is a teacher who wants you to grow in the way you are as an artist versus the way they are as an artist. And Gabby was really a mentor for me like that, and which was why I was able to make such a great film and also continue making work now. So that's my advice.
Yay, Gabby. Yay, Penn State. Yay, Penn State film students. Yay, Hogan. Oh my gosh. Go to the creamery, get some. Oh my God, I want to come to State College.
Kelly's devastated not to be here in person, in case you couldn't tell. Like, that
I'm
was
freaking out. I'll come next time and just like invade all of your classes. But to all the students, feel free to reach out. Gabby, you can give my personal email or whatever to them if anybody wants.
They're gonna have to go to your website in a couple of weeks, because we're gonna start reading some artist manifestos, and that means they have to read Armed Manifesto, because duh.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, be kind to each other. Oh my gosh. I feel like I met my best friends at Penn State Film School. Be kind to each other, and to Gabby. And yeah, you guys are all just so lucky to have Gabby. And I'm sure Gabby's so lucky to have all of you. Experimental filmmaking is the best. So things you learn in this class, even if you don't want to be an experimental filmmaker or, alternative, whatever it's called, there's a resourcefulness and a joy in these practices that you will take with you. There are lessons here that you will learn in this class that likely, will stay with you forever. So, so just hold on to those lessons and keep enjoying filmmaking.
Yeah,
Cool.
You all can contact me too. I have all the things I did for this film very heavily documented as well. So anything, it's yours. I wrote it all down. It's free. Also, yeah, give all your resources for free.
Yes.
We're never going to grow as a collective community unless we just give all our stuff away for free.
Yes. Hogan and I feel like we share politics around that, and we'll share anything with any of you. Nothing's worse than when filmmakers come to talk to students and they're like, oh, that's a secret. Or like, I don't want to share how I did that process. Or, it's just my magical talent I was born with. Like, that's bullshit. Everyone should share with each other their practices, their processes. Like, this is how we enrich our film community and how more voices are able to keep making more and more work. So yeah, so anyway, God, what's wrong? I'm like just so excited to talk to people at State College. I'm going to stop now because I'll keep going forever and make bad State College jokes. Like, is gonna go get a sub at McClanahan's or like whatever. Like, I'm going to stop myself and just thank you, Gabby, for having us.
So I have to say, like, of course, yay Kelly, yay Hogan, and yay Center Film Festival for bringing us together with this class. That's excellent. The last thing that I want to ask you both before we sign off of this beautiful live stream of love is, what are you working on now, and how can we support you?
I'm making not film work right now.
Do you have one of them near you? Can you hold one up?
Oh yeah, probably.
Get it.
I'm doing some painting and sculpture. It's wet though. I can't really touch it.
Okay. Go to Hogan's Instagram to see their sculptures and paintings. So like Hogan and I are basically married, so I know everything that they're doing, is what I'm telling you. Hogan, you're at Hogan Seidel, right? One word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Oh my gosh, your paintings have been so amazing, Hogan. I've been watching.
Yeah, I've just been painting and making sculptures, just because I don't have a lot of money right now. And then yeah, so when I don't have money, I just use a different medium that I have access to, I guess.
How can we best support you in your artwork, Hogan?
Just send gentleness and kindness to each other. You support each other. I feel very supported right now by so many loved ones and chosen family. So instead of loving me, love the people around you and support their work, because I feel very supported.
Gosh, Hogan. I feel like I need like 10 minutes of Hogan time a day now. Like,
I'll have a therapy hour every week for
Thank
whoever
you.
wants to drop in.
please do. We'll all drop in. What am I working on? I just finished literally last night, just finished a ton of animation for this exciting upcoming feature documentary by this amazing filmmaker named John Cesare Goff. The film's called After Sherman, and the website's aftersherman.com. But and so I don't know, I don't want to speak for his film, but you should look into it. It's a really beautiful, very like personal essay doc work by John Cesare Goff that I did the animation for. So I just wrapped that. I've been working on that for several months and just finished that last night, which is very exciting. I think the next project that I'm going to work on might be a little bit bigger in scale, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe a big film. I want to do a film about non-extant films that no longer exist, that were made by women and genderqueer folks. And have been lost to time, lost because scholars didn't put enough care and effort into these early films by women and genderqueer folks that no longer exist. And so I kind of want to sort of excavate, what these films were about and make an argument that these filmmakers should still be included in film history, et cetera. So I think that'll be what I'm working on next.
And how can we support you in your work, KJ?
I feel like I want to. I honestly, I mean, am I allowed to steal Hogan's answer? I like Hogan's answer, so I just want to double it. I double Hogan's answer. I think you all should. Yes, I love tenderness. I love everyone loving and caring about each other. I mean, that's why I had such a beautiful time at Penn State and film school. It was the care and love and tenderness that me and my great group of friends, kind of the solidarity that we had among us, supporting each other, even when, we were making all kinds of, I was making the weirdest films. Like we were all, like everyone was making all different kinds of films, but being good friends to each other, caring for one another, making sure everyone gets home safely, all of the good stuff, that you're fed, that you're getting your sleep, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And I'll, try and do the same for myself. But yeah, I think Hogan's answer was beautiful.
I totally agree. If you do, want some material support for that project, that sounds awesome. I can think of at least 2 non-binary queers who very much are interested. So
amazing. Let's talk, Hogan and Gabby. Let's talk.
All right. Well, thanks for everyone for being with us tonight for this beautiful live stream of love and for watching the experimental showcase. If you haven't, it is still available for the rest of the week. There's also some other incredible projects that are showing both in person and on the internet for the whole week. I have to plug the 2 that I'm going to be additionally moderating. On Wednesday in the same class, we're going to be live streaming with Lynn Sachs to talk about Film About a Father Who with this wonderful group of students. And on Wednesday night in person at the State Theater, I'm going to be moderating a Q&A with Lyle Cash, who made Death and Bowling, which is an incredible, campy, queer film also of love. So stick around, stay with the Center Film Festival. We would love to hear from you. Say hi to me if you see me.
And we are. Yeah, baby! That was so. Thanks, guys.